Guitar tone aficionados, it's Pete Thorn. Welcome to my studio, and hey, this is the KEELEY DDR, or drive, delay, and reverb, combining all those different effects in one pedal housing. Pretty darn cool. I remember meeting Robert Keeley actually recently at the GitCon guitar conference YouTube thingy in Germany, and he mentioned to me he was really excited about combining a bunch of effects together, different effects together in one pedal housing. You know, effects guitar players are familiar with, but maybe there's not been so many pedals out in the market that combine them into one pedal, which makes for a real easy thing to just throw in your gig bag and take to a session, or, you know, take to a jam or something like that, and then have a real complete guitar sound. So this pedal certainly follows that design philosophy, and I think it's really cool. So you heard me use it on all the guitar parts on that track at the beginning of the video. I utilized most of the sounds it's capable of, I think, running it just right in front of my PT15 amp and miking up a cabinet in the other room with a greenback speaker in it. So a little bit about the pedal. On this side is the overdrive side. You've got two different overdrive settings. One that Robert kind of calls, one's like crunch and one's lead. I actually ended up using the crunch one for all the guitar parts in the song at the beginning of the video because it sounded a little better for the amp settings that I had going and whatnot. But I'm going to show you what the other one sounds like in a bit here. It's got a fatter, kind of darker voicing, the one that Robert kind of geared towards lead, I guess. But anyway, they both work for rhythm and or lead depending on what amp, what guitar you're using and stuff. More on that in a bit. On the other side here, you've got the delay and reverb, and you have to pick which one you want to use at any given time. You can't use delay and reverb at the same time. But there is two different reverb settings. One's kind of more like a hall, the other one's like a spring. They both sound just great, like really, really nice sounding reverbs. And then there's two different delay settings. One's a darker, kind of more analog, rolled off kind of sound, and the other one's more like a digital delay. And both sound terrific. So you'll hear those both in just a second here. The pedal does, as you might have noticed, change delay time, and you can do crazy spaceship taking off and ramping up and down effects when you modify the delay time on the fly. I think that's really cool because I love that sound. It never gets old to me. So what else? Well, I'm just going to solo some of those parts from the track at the beginning of the video outside of the mix, give you a couple more playing examples, and you'll really hear what this thing can do and what it sounds like. I think it's a great option to have. I mean, everybody could use one of these to just throw in their gig bag. You can get a real cool kind of complete guitar sound out of it if you just got to plug into a clean combo, or, you know, you're doing kind of a throw and go gig. What a great thing to have. Anyway, let's get on with it. It's the DDR from KEELEY. Here we go. So for the track at the beginning of the video, for the last solo, I ended up using the channel 2 which is kind of one of the dirtier channels on the PT15 amp. I wanted to see if I could still get away with some delay and stuff like that in front of the amp. So I'm running the gain quite low, and I've just got it for like kind of like a mild crunch edge of breakout. Sounds like that. And then what I'm doing on the amp also is I've got the bright switch off, and that makes for a nice lead tone when I kick the pedal in. So let's see what we got going here. When I add the delay, you can hear it's no problem. It gets a little bit dirty in front of the amp, but it sounds cool. It's got vibe. Now, I'm using the darker of the two delays. If I went to the brighter setting, actually sounds pretty good. I didn't think I was going to like it that much, but it actually sounds quite nice. Well, that's Keeley for you. They make good stuff. I used the darker of the two settings. As far as the drive goes, I'm using the style switch to the left. That's the sound that I definitely preferred the most with my amp. And when I kick it on, it's just got a nice upper mid character, and it blends with the little bit of crunch I've got going on the amp really nice, with the level on about half and the tone control just at about 11 o'clock. Sounds really good. So turning on the delay. So for my video, as far as the distortion sounds and the style switch, I used it in what I believe is the combo setting, the brighter of the two settings with less bottom end. It just sounds more familiar to me, more like kind of like that barky British kind of overdrive that I'm used to. Now if I switch over to the other side here with the style switch, it's a darker sound, it's fuller. And so that sound I didn't end up using in my video, but I kind of get it now. If I switch over to the dirty channel of my amp, and I use it, say, on the neck single coil, it kind of makes sense on that setting to me, you know, particularly adding a little bit of grit on the amp, and it's just kind of a fat, almost kind of like thick. But the sound that I still bonded with the most was the other channel, which to me sounds really terrific, and it's just got a kind of a more upper mid-centered texture to it, and just seemed to bond well with my amplifier, whether it was on the clean channel or the dirty channel. All right, there you have it, the DDR, drive, delay, reverb from Keeley. Super versatile pedal that sounded really terrific with my amp. I just think it's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, nice effect pedal to have around. If you need a reverb, you need a drive, you need a delay, it's all in there. I'm gonna keep it handy when I just need to, you know, add some echo to something or add some reverb to something. You know, kick my amp a little bit harder. It just seems to make sense. A couple more things I didn't mention yet. There's a TRS insert on this pedal, so you can flip this little switch here on the side of the pedal, and that's going to allow you to insert effects in between the drive and the time-based effects section on this. So that's really cool. And there's also a trail switch, so that when you turn the delay on and off, you're going to get the trails and the delay tailing out, or the reverb tailing out as well. You can check it out further at the website that you see there on your screen. And hey, please hit subscribe if you haven't. Hit the little bell beside the subscribe button. You'll get an alert every time I put out a new video. All right, you guys, thanks for joining me. I am Pete Thorn. Take care.